Hello, my name is Rhea Tchaikovsky, and I'm in an intercultural communications class at RVCC, and I'm doing a project, and I'm going to be describing the microculture of nature lovers, because I myself am an avid nature lover. I love outside, whether it be physical or just looking at it, the beauty of nature, all of it. I freaking love it. So I'm going to explain to you how nature lovers are a whole microculture in themselves, and their unique culture and communication patterns and behaviors that are different than dominant cultures. And so, why should they be considered a microculture? They have different beliefs and values than the dominant culture. One of the common values and beliefs that differ is that people who love nature also usually love to preserve nature and to take care of nature, and they care about the planet around them, and they don't want anything to mess it up, so they make sure to keep it clean. And this means that they don't litter, they don't like to litter, they try to do things that are less harmful to the environment, they don't want to leave their car runnings. I'll sit in my car with my car off, just windows open, doing it. And it's really to be considerate of nature and to be considerate of the world around you, and that makes you also consider the rest of the world around you and pay more attention in situations. And we really value being outside, and we value nature and the beauty of it, and we feel it, and it makes us feel invigorated and alive, and recharges us, and it's wonderful. And other characteristics of the group of the microculture and other characteristics of those who the microculture attract are usually also really healthy people, physical people, because if you like to be outside, you like to move usually. So if you like to move, you're usually pretty healthy. And if you care about the environment, you also care about eating things sustainably, and you might, in that sense where you give more consideration to everything in the world around you, you might give more consideration to yourself and your own health, because you want to be able to live long and move and be healthy for a long time, to be able to keep going outside and playing and enjoying. So that's definitely a characteristic of the group. And then when it comes to traits of the group, genetically, I don't know if there really is anything specific genetically. There might be partly things like you might be born with like a really good sense of direction, or it could be just that, like, because that also, like, I have a really good sense of direction. I never get lost in the woods, and I don't know if that's just because my mom always brought me in the woods and brought me everywhere, or it's because I have a good concept of physical directions and where I am somewhere, if I was born with that or if that's what I learned. But it is heavily utilized in walking around on trails. I don't always have a map, and I never get lost. I've never once gotten lost, and even when I felt like I was lost, I found my way and I made it back, and I always ended up where I thought I was. So there could be something genetic about that, some kind of directional thing that contributes to that. And besides that, also maybe really good balance, because for me specifically, I know, and a lot of other people too, who like to frolic and play outside in nature, there's a lot of things to be climbed, and there's a lot of things to run around. There's rocks in the water, there's fallen trees, there's any kind of anything, there's jumping over a little stream. But balance usually comes into play, so I don't know if that would be genetic or if that's facilitated by continuous play outside, or both. But I definitely have that, and I think people who play outside and have an affinity for that are more likely to have a good sense of balance, even if just when it comes to being outside and having level footing on terrain. Because when you're outside, and if you're really going in the woods and stuff and on trails and on hikes, then you really have to be aware and conscious of your footing and your stepping, because you could very easily roll your ankle at any point or step on a rock that's not holding firm. So that is definitely to be watched out for, and that's definitely something that comes into play. So I think if anything, if there was a genetic thing that made them, more balanced, it would be facilitated. It would be used. It's used for that, yeah. And then, so behaviors and patterns of communication that are different from the dominant culture. In the group of nature lovers, there's a lot of understanding of vocabulary of flora and fauna, like knowing what animals are. If you're outside and you're exposed to nature all the time, I've definitely told some of my friends what certain butterflies were, like a monarch butterfly. Usually everyone knows that, but still. Or one time I saw a muskrat come out of the water, and I was with my friend, and she was like, "What the hell is that?" And I said, "That's a muskrat," and I could just tell. I knew it was. Or certain flowers or trees, like my favorite tree is a weeping willow, and I always know when I see one. And I also like to then teach people who don't know what those things are, what they are. But that is definitely a unique branch of communication. Also knowing what kind of bugs are, and knowing the lingo of trails. Like there's a thing called, there are trail markers, and trail markers are clearly marked things on trees or rocks or any kind of structure, any kind of thing that you can put a sign on for people to see and follow a trail. And they're usually clear indications. But then there are also things called blazes, I guess would be plural, that are just little slashes of paint. They're very hard to see at times. They can be, and you have to find it, and then you have to go around and you have to find the next one, and that's you following the trail. So there's also the understanding of how to read a map, because you do know how to read. Well, a lot of trails have maps, and if you know how to read a map, it makes it way easier. And if you do like to go outside and you're an avid hiker and traveler, nature person, then you definitely would figure out how to end up reading a trail map specifically, and knowing how to read that. And then other behaviors are, like I said earlier, definitely not wanting to litter, keeping the world nice, maybe being more aware and considerate of a person in your own life, and carrying the mentality of leave the place as you found it into every avenue of your life, not just nature, but also anyone's house you might go to, your own house, anytime you might travel or go somewhere, or a restaurant. I am always very conscious, and I like to pick up after myself because I am conscious and considerate of the world. So I am in every aspect of that, and I know that a lot of other people who love to be outside also are like that. And there's a very specific person to really enjoy nature, because there's some people might think there's nothing happening in nature, it's quiet, it's boring, but that's just people who don't appreciate it and can't see it. But for anyone who really enjoys to be outside and enjoys, there's enjoyment to be had in everything that you see, all the different things, and then all the things you hear, the leaves, the wind, the bugs, the birds, the animals, and then all the things that you smell, the grass, the leaves, the trees, the flowers, everything, and the water and the sound of the water, everything. And that leads you, if you're in nature all the time and you love it and you appreciate it, and you're finding every detail to be appreciated and to be looked at and to be found, then you also usually translate into your normal life. I'm someone who always realizes things. I always notice when someone gets a haircut or has different glasses or does anything different. I notice things around me. I look up a lot. That's another thing. Some people who like to be outside start looking up because they love to see all the awe around them. So not just outside in nature, but then also inside. I end up seeing a lot of things that my other friends don't see, whether it's because I'm looking up or because I am looking down, because you see things on the ground as well. But I'm just always looking everywhere, because you never know what you're going to see or what's going to be there to be processed next. And so that's definitely a lot. And also the value of having outside time and thinking about having free time, and then when it's a nice day out, what can I do? Where can I go outside? Who can I go with? Can I call my friends? And whether it be just walking or even just, I love to rollerblade and I love to be outside, so I love to rollerblade outside and go through the park, or longboard. And then who can I do that with? And we do that all together, and that's a great time. Or I just do it alone, and I love it, and it recharges me, and it makes me feel alive. And interesting and relevant facts. So I think one of the interesting facts is being aware of the world around you. When you pay attention to every little detail, and then you pay attention to everything in your normal life, I feel like it is, and you're considering the earth, just to be a more considerate person, I think is an admirable quality to have for anybody, and I think everyone should work towards that and thinking a little bit more and paying more attention and being more aware. And then I also think that another interesting fact is people in this microculture usually have a pretty good stamina, because if you like to be outside, I know I've gone on walks far, long, good to, also to backtrack, sorry, another thing that these microcultures attract is anyone that you're friends with that don't like to go on walks, you're going to make them try to go on walks. And you'll make them enjoy and appreciate the nature a little bit. Some people might not. All of my friends who don't like moving always end up having a good time, though. And I like to, just educate them that it is so beautiful and it's free and it's wonderful and it should be appreciated. And now back to the facts. I also think, good stamina. And because when you go hikes a lot and you go up in inclines and you're jumping around and you're adventuring, that's a lot of effort. And then I think they also like to explore, to adventure, to take risks, and to also have good balance for that. But to take risks, and I've walked across things that look scary before, fallen trees. I know I'm very secure in my balance, but even not that, I've jumped from rocks in rivers and stuff. Just so much joy and amazement, so wonderful, and I love it. And then that's another interesting fact is there is a sense of freedom to be outside and to be enjoyed and to be loved, and that lets you play, and it lets you play in a really free way, and it is just frolicking. People who really, like me personally, I love to frolic in the woods. Sometimes I'll run. I'll run and I'll jump, I'll be running on the rocks, not falling, not rolling my ankle, and I'll climb on trees, and I'll skip stones, and I'll laugh and I'll look, and I'll stop with my friends and I'll say, wow, look at that. My friend will stop and he'll see a bug or he'll see a turtle, and we'll look at that for 10-15 minutes. Just amazing. And it's so wonderful. And then I think another interesting fact is it leads you to look not just where other people look, but where you might not think to look. Or sometimes you're just gazing in a random direction and you find something because you just gaze and you like to imagine and wonder and create, and it's so much fun, and I love it. And that is another interesting fact, that we will force people to go on walks with us, and we will tell them it's not that bad because maybe we think it's not that bad, or because we just really want them to come on the walk. So one of the two, or both. Could be both. But they always usually 90% of the time get through it and have a great time, and it's great. And the ones that don't, we just turn around early and it's fine. And then in my conclusion, nature lovers are their own microculture, and they have distinguished characteristics like the value of nature, which drives the desire for preservation of nature, and the connection with nature in the world drives them to go outside, to take as much of the world as they can and take it in for as long as they can, and to share this with the people that they love, and to try to share the appreciation of it, even if they don't have the same affinity. I'll point at a cloud every day and I'll say, this is the most beautiful cloud I've ever seen. Different cloud, doesn't matter. And I have friends that are like, that doesn't matter, it's just a cloud. And I say, but it's so beautiful. And I have other friends that say, you're right, that is such a beautiful cloud. And that's wonderful, and I love it. And we like to educate people on it. And we love people who ask questions. Anyone loves anyone who is excited to learn about something that they're really passionate about. So I'm always excited to be telling anyone and answering questions and to take them outside. And it's always nice to have someone else when to go outside. And it always makes it even better to enjoy it with someone else who can enjoy it too. And nature's great. I think everyone should go outside, hug a tree, smell some air, and splash in the water, and enjoy. And thank you for watching my microculture presentation, and thank you.